Welcome, welcome back for the second session of this workshop. I take this opportunity to introduce very respected guest, Honorable Professor Dr. B.M. Naik sir, and the topic is insights into research, innovation, and entrepreneurship. Dr. B.M. Naik sir is PhD about experience during 61 to 62. He has rendered his duties to Public Works Department. 62 to 73, lecturer in Government College of Engineering, Pune. 62, 66 to 68 on scholarship to Germany. 73 to 77, Deputy Apprenticeship Advisor in Directorate of Technical Education, Mumbai. 77 to 83, Faculty of Indian Institute of Public Administration, Delhi. From 83 to 99, the founder principal of Sri Guru Gobind Singh Institute of Engineering and Technology, Nanded. About the books sir has published, some of the books are Project Management in 1985, New Vistas in Technical Education in 1995, Global Visions and Missions in Technical Education in 2008, Tantra Shikshanachi Punarrachna in 1999, Higher and Technical Education Book of Knowledge in 2010, Education and Leadership Role of Universities and Colleges to Nurture Leaders in 2015, and revised edition in 2018. Insights into Research, Innovation and Entrepreneurship for Higher and Technical Education Challenges, New Education Policy 2020. About the achievements, sir has more than 60 research papers to his credit, prized by Institute of Engineers in 1973 for one of the papers, Lifetime Achievement Award by his alma mater, College of Engineering, Pune, Education Advisor and member of Governing Board for KK Wagh Engineering College, Nasik, RIT Engineering College, Islampur, Government Engineering College, Aurangabad. Sir has been the committee member of Rajiv Gandhi Commission on SIT during 95 to 2006. Sir was appointed as mentor by the Government of India in TE QIP scheme to various engineering colleges. So with this brief introduction, I will request respected sir to guide us. Sir, I am sharing again your screen.
Yeah.
For this.
Yeah. Thank you.
Is it fine, sir?
Thank you, Dr. Sonavne, Dr. Hurekar, and thank you, Dr. Bichkar. At the outset, are you able to hear me now?
Yes, sir. Properly.
Yes, sir.
At the outset, let me thank the organizers, VP Institute Baramati, for inviting me and giving opportunity to share a few observations on technical education with the learned professors in various engineering colleges. I'm going to talk on insights into research, innovation, and entrepreneurship for higher and technical education challenge of National Education Policy 2020 and Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. See, these days, research, innovation, and entrepreneurship has achieved high significance all over the world. And therefore, in the world ranking of institutions, these three parameters, namely research, innovation, and entrepreneurship, carry high importance and weightage. New education policy has obviously given high importance to it in its policy recommendations. Yeah, next, please. Can I have the next slide, please? Next slide, please.
Sonane sir, next slide.
Next slide. See, these three parameters, namely research, innovation, and entrepreneurship, are very important to us, to India, and especially in Maharashtra. Why? Because on these three parameters, our colleges and engineering colleges are quite deficient. And in the coming time, we need to make up this deficiency. Our research deficiency today is there, but let it be. Innovation and entrepreneurship. But in the coming years, we ought to make up this deficiency. You see, in case of such institutions, intellectual property rights is one parameter which is measured and which decides the rating of a college. IP, what is the intellectual property of an institution, and where do we stand? This is the measure not only in our world ranking and NIRF, National Institute Ranking Framework, but this is everywhere. We have to focus our attention in the coming time on these three aspects: research, innovation, and entrepreneurship, so that the intellectual property of the institution, what is gets lifted up. We have to increase the patent and IPR in our institution. This is a serious deficiency with our colleges, and so long as this deficiency is made up, our institutions in the world ranking will not get a proper place. You see, this is the cover page of my book, which I have published. And it is given to you by the organizers. Everyone, every participant of the course is given a soft copy of this book. You already have it. I request you all to go through each and every aspect, every chapter of this book and the final conclusions. Some things in a broad sense I will be talking about, but in a detailed manner, you will get those things in the book itself. You see, yeah, next please. Next slide, please. Yeah, see, I begin with the Nalanda University. Nalanda was the first university of the world, but thereafter there is a long gap. And in 1947, we started. India made a laudable progress. There were only a few universities in India before 1947. And now there are more than 1,000 universities. And India government is conscious to regain the past glory of Nalanda University. So it has started a new university in Nalanda. And Dr. Amartya Sen is the advisor to set up this institution. See, we have to ask a question. We have to ask a question to ourselves: where does India stand today in world ranking? We are intending to become a technology power. We are intending to become a 5 trillion economy. And where do we stand in world ranking in higher and technical education? The answer is known to you all. I don't have to tell you. India has started NIRF, that is the National Institute Ranking Framework, to create competition between institutions so that our institutions rank not only within the country but also at the world level. Our Prime Minister 3-4 years back declared determination that 10 universities from public and 10 from private to appear in first 50 in the world ranking. It was a big news. He agreed to grant full autonomy to such institutions, and whatever funds they demand, they will get it. But so far, within a period of 3-4 years, no institution has come up, and we are there only where we were. 10 Chinese universities in this period, however, climbed up the ladder. And let me tell you, we are a big country. Universities from small countries like Singapore, New Zealand, Israel, Switzerland, where the population is, you see, Singapore population is almost half of Bombay, but yet 3 of its universities rank high in the world list. New Zealand, Israel, they are tiny countries, but a big India. Why it cannot have world ranking universities is the question which the academicians and the politicians of this country have to apply their mind. Prime Minister long back, 3-4 years back, very rightly looked at this question, and he made his determination that we will do it, but somehow it has not been possible. Why universities of big India and even IITs are not able to make up? Probably the age-old systems which are in practice in our institution is an obstacle. Anyway, next please, next slide please. How can Indian institutions rank high? Has to be addressed by academicians and politicians. It is not only academicians which can answer these questions. It is not only politicians, the leaders of the country who can answer this question. It has to be jointly answered, and it will take a little time. India, as on today, is a lowly educated country. The population, vast majority of the population is less educated. It is lowly funded. The funds which are given for education, right from primary education to university education, the funds are far too low. Are the professors and students in this country not intelligent and not working hard? Are the students and the professors, do they lack in intelligence? Do they lack in hard working? The answer is no. Are MHRD systems and procedures and strategies not fit to make our institutions rank in the world list? This has to be examined thoroughly. There are many systems and procedures which are dysfunctional, which are out of date, which cannot fit the our goal and mission. And therefore, you see, this was a question also in United States of America. In the year 1801 to 1808, there was a president in USA. His name was Mr. Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson first was a professor in university, and later on he became the president of USA. Thomas Jefferson told the people of US that until and unless our universities go ahead of the European universities, we cannot our economy and our industry will remain behind. And then he gave a fillip. He gave a fillip to universities. He started USF, United States Foundation. Research, innovation, and entrepreneurship in universities of USA was given a big fillip. And since then, universities have been rising up in research, in industrial interaction, and because of this Phillips today, 8 out of the first 10 universities of the world are from United States. The previously Berlin University, Oxford, Cambridge were far too ahead of American, but now they are also there in first 10. But the American industry and American economy today has become far better than European because of the university education has become better. IPR, intellectual property rights of US, ranks number 1. The highest intellectual property rights are earned by United States, and IPR decides the rating of a nation. India ranks very low in intellectual property rights. It is around 50. The World Innovation Index says that India standing is quite low. Should engineering colleges and professors not give priority to IPR? Yes, they have essentially to look at it. They should see that every action leads to improvement of the intellectual property rights. Should they have to be passionate and dedicated to increasing IPR? They have to be passionate. Passionate means the passionate person, the dedicated person, he does not look to a watch. He keeps on working day and night, and he ultimately contributes to the intellectual property of an institution. Yes, next slide, please. See, the strength of a nation today is measured today not in the size of the army and arsenals, but in IPR. You see how big the army is, how big the navy, these are not the questions which decide the strength of a nation. It is the intellectual property rights. Research and innovation provide foundation for IPR. If you have good research and good innovation, your IPR will be bigger. But if your research and innovation is weak, your intellectual property cannot be big. See, the university and colleges are like a tree on which the fruits of intellectual property right come. IPR has assumed more importance than land and gold and minerals today. World ranking is found to produce globally competent leaders. You see, the world ranking universities, they produce globally competent leaders for various walks of life, for various professions at local, national, and international level. How is the ranking of universities and IPR linked with prosperity and strength of a nation? And that nation where IPR is good, where university ranking is good, the nation is developed. That nation, even if it is rich in natural resources like land, water, minerals, gold, iron ore, etc., but if the intellectual property and if the universities are poor, they have no standing whatsoever in the world ranking. They produce, such countries produce just graduates. And the world ranking institutes produce innovators, creators, technology pioneers needed most to bolster economic competitiveness. Even if a country is rich in natural resources and minerals, without sound base of knowledge in good universities and colleges, it cannot become prosperous. India is intending to become a developed country. Today it is a developing country, and it is faltering It is not yet 2022 was the target date by which India wanted to become a developed country, but another 2 years, 1 year, we don't know. Without world ranking universities and colleges, can India ever become a developed country? Undoubtedly no. Theory of education says education does not grow where research is absent. Research is very essential for education to grow. It is the foundation, it is the seed of education. It is a seed corn. Institutes abroad are engines of a trade. In India, they are followers like bogies. Institutes, you see, the development of a country is driven, is forward by the economy is rising up because of the science and technology and by the universities. And whereas in India, our things are, yeah, next slide, please. Stanford University of USA is often quoted. This university has so far produced 3,000 startups. It has created an ecosystem with the Silicon Valley. And the industries in Silicon Valley have a close liaison with the professors and the students. The engineers of Silicon Valley lecture in Stanford University, and Stanford University provides the access to engineers for research. There is a frequent exchange between the two. It has become, the Silicon Valley and the Stanford University has become a magnet, very important word, magnet for scholars and startups. The famous world leader, Elon Musk, came to this place from South Africa. From South Africa, he went to Canada. From Canada, then he came to Stanford University. And from Stanford University, he started his own enterprise, and now he is one of the richest people in the world. Stanford has a big research park. I have personally visited this park. I have also personally visited Toronto University Research Park. In Toronto University Research Park, in one location, there are 6,000 PhDs who are doing the innovation work, who are doing the research work. India is very slow to adopt university-based approach to economic development. The economic development of a country means building roads, building electrical housing, and whatnot. All that is important, but building university system stronger is the basic need. There is a study conducted by AURP, Association of University Research Park and Batley Company, on research park, how the research park is useful in building the economy of a country. And this report is available on net. A few institutes like IITB, IIT Delhi, Chennai have recently started. Doesn't matter, we are late, but we are growing. Research park is an asset and not a liability to a nation. And not only the big institutes and IITs have to start a research park, even engineering colleges, they can also start a research park. They don't have to, see, the size of the institution is not very important. What is important is the passion, is the desire. China has started 100 parks in the last 5-10 years, 15 years back. Its progress is attributed to research parks. Anil Kakodkar, in a report, recommended this to Maharashtra government to install parks. This report is also available on net. Engineering colleges may like to come together and start research park. They will make a big difference. They themselves will win, and the region, Maharashtra state will also win. Research has to be given due weightage. Yeah, next please. Major recommendations of NEP 2020 are in the areas of research, in the areas of innovation, and in respect of startups. See, these deficient areas are hit by the national education policy. We have to make our deficiencies strong. We have to remove them. NEP has laid great emphasis on research, innovation, and entrepreneurship. National Research Foundation, first time in India, like National Science Foundation of USA, is created and 50,000 crores of rupees sanctioned. See, never in the past, research was considered by University Grants Commission or by AICTE. National Higher Education and Research Council proposed combining UGC and AICTE. There was no word of research in UGC. There was no word of research in AICTE. They were only administrative units. Budget speech of Union Finance Minister FDI said FDI in education is permitted. This has serious implications. It means now world best universities are likely to put up their universities on Indian soil. Right now, many world best universities are working in collaboration with the Indian universities because this FDI in education was not allowed. FDI in industry was allowed. That is why we have IBM, we have Microsoft, we have many companies, and we are providing red carpet treatment to them all. But now, from the budget speech of Union Finance Minister this year, FDI in education is permitted. Education has now to be alarmed. Education is a driving force for economic development. This has to be understood. There is a need to harness global winds of change. Means what are the global winds? What are the changes that are happening elsewhere in the world? How the various countries are gaining and improving their educational standards, research outputs. What are the global opportunities and what are the global challenges? Method of education in India has got to change from memorization to innovation to experimentation and to increase IPR. IPR is the road to future. If the college is a teaching shop, then it will lag behind. If the college is always innovating, then only the college will win. Very important statement. Standing of a college is decided today by the research, innovation, and IPR. Yeah, next slide, please. So we must focus our attention to see that we individually also have the intellectual property rights at our credit and the institution also. NEP 20 prescribe innovation centers, incubators, research park, intellectual VCF, venture capital firms, etc. in each institute in partnership with industry. Until and unless these innovation centers are set up, the job generation in India will not be up to the mark. Mandate that is given by NEP now is to make education innovative and enterprising. This is a mandate. We have to look at it, especially the engineering colleges. Close relationship of education with the world of work is recommended. There should be no gap between what is wanted and what is taught. But today, the situation is what is wanted is not taught and what is taught is not wanted. This is the most undesirable thing, and there is a gap between the two. Design courses. We have to redesign the courses. Look at this statement, very important. Design courses to enlarge the outlook of students. to professions and problems in them, not only bookish things, but what are the professions and what are the problems in this profession? Why our engineers, why our companies in the global market do not compete? Innovation is foundation for startups, and startups are necessary to bring new ideas to market. Unless there are startups, new ideas do not come to the market and make our Bharat as Atmanirbhar. Teach not only subject matter, but current and future problems in professions. Problem-based learning, you have had elaborate lectures on this topic. I appreciate the vision of your institution that you have included this in your program. Unless a professor, this is a very important statement, unless a professor is involved in industry-oriented research and innovation, the professor has very little current and relevant knowledge to teach. The professors are very important. What do they teach? And to be able to teach, they must be having access to industry-oriented research. He tends to teach sunset knowledge, incompatible to global opportunity. Teaching gets a force, depth, and sharp edge if the professor is engaged in innovation. If the professor and the institution and the students are engaged in innovation, then only education will be relevant to the world of work. Syllabi ought now to state problems and guide students to find solutions. We should state the problems, pose the problem to the students. The students have got immense capability to find solutions to the problem. They learn many elementary things by themselves. They don't have to be taught in a classroom. Teach emerging skills in research. Teach emerging skills in innovation and entrepreneurship to them. NEP envisions India to become a world education hub. This is a very big thing. This is not to be achieved so as to say in a short period of time. It is a very long-term measure. Yeah, next please. See, India is facing many problems, and these problems are unemployment is the first and foremost problem of educated, less educated, and uneducated. Even educated people, as I mentioned, there is a gap. What is wanted is not taught, and what is taught is not wanted. Import of goods in India is far more than export. It is far more in defense, especially. 90% of the goods in defense are imported, and they hold exhibitions of the imported goods so that the Atmanirbhar Bharat, so that the Indian institutes look at these products. Ranking of Indian institutions in the world, this is also a serious problem. Brain drain. Thousands of students every year go abroad for higher education. Why do they go abroad? They are rejecting. Even from IITs, graduates from IITs also go abroad. They settle, and many of them do not come back. Too low national budget is provided for education. India doesn't provide good value, good amount of budget to education. Value attached by government to education is too low. See, we spend only 3% of GDP on education, whereas the developed countries like America, they spend 10%, 11%, 12% of their GDP on education, and that is why they remain ahead in the world. Poor implementation of autonomy. Many institutions are granted autonomy, but there is a lot of interference from the government in autonomy. All IITs are supposed to be autonomy, but again, they have problems in implementing the autonomy. Professors and students have capability, creativity for innovation, but unused. The capability and creativity of the students is untapped, is unused. Training of professors for innovation is essential. role of management is vital. How the professors could become innovative, how the syllabi could become innovative, and how the education could be made innovative is a very big thing that the institutions should address. Poor service conditions of Indian professors versus international. See, professors are, and when you look to the international service conditions, there is a big gap. Poor governance and poor leadership at central, state, and college university is the main cause. There was a National Knowledge Commission, NKC, Sam Pitroda, and he had mentioned that in education, the gap, the governance is far too poor. The governance from Government of India, the governance from state government, the governance from universities and colleges is behind the world. And that is why we are not able. In the book, there is a chapter, chapter number 15. You may read that. That is on devoted to governance of the education. Global winds of change in India are not cared for. Strategies, visions, and missions, right from the top, from MHRD, are not in order. Institutions, that is why you see small countries have world-class universities, but a big country, there are many universities and many colleges which have ample funds. But our rules, they bind the professors' conditions, service conditions such that they cannot produce world-class institutions. Research, this statement is very important. Research is the seed corn for the harvest of benefit. If there is no research in an institution, no benefit will come. Research creates wealth. We are a poor country because we don't have research. Yeah, next please. Research and innovation, they go together. Root cause of all problems in India, it may be poverty, it may be crime rate, many, it may be lack of competitiveness. All these problems are due to insufficient innovation and insufficient entrepreneurship. In colleges, if the students are not learning innovation in the college days, they do not practice innovation lifelong. If they learn innovation in college days, they will essentially practice innovation lifelong. This is the major barrier in job generation. This has to be understood by each and everyone properly, and we have to see that in our colleges. What is innovation? Innovation is different from research. Innovation makes use of known knowledge, known science and technology. Innovation is value addition. Value addition in products, value addition in processes, value addition in financial services, value addition in organizational structure, etc. And innovation it doesn't need, see, for any college to install, you have to have a innovation center. You have to incubation. India government has launched incubation center long back in the year 2000, but not many institutions in India have these incubation centers, only a few. We have to abandon old traditional methods and make colleges innovative and enterprising, very important. Educate the students relevant to the world of work for job generation. As a result, persons with innovation skills are in India in short supply. Lack of innovation is the major barrier. Innovation is a strong stimulant. Innovative persons work with passion and endless energy. Most of the innovations have come in India from foreign countries. Innovative people are never unemployed. They innovate and again innovate to create new. They create wealth. Learning has to be innovation oriented. creativity and entrepreneurship oriented so as to make Indian economy rich. Industry cannot do all the research. This has to be understood well. Industry is meant for production. Industry is not meant for innovation. Industry is not meant for research. University is meant for innovation, and university and colleges are meant for research. But they have to join hands with each other. Only university or college cannot make innovation all alone by itself. Without the support of industry, and industry has no funds, has no expertise, no credential for small countries. Yes, world best colleges are fostering the culture of research, innovation, and startups. Nations are flourishing, which lead in research and innovations, and others trail behind. Even if they are rich in natural resources, they trail behind. What is the changing role of technical education under globalization pressure and under the new target of Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan? The traditional role of teaching, learning, examination, awarding degree is good, but not enough to meet global competition and challenges. Every professor and every student has to dream to become a researcher, innovator, and entrepreneur. Everyone have to innovate, everyone have to become and give the skills of researching, give the skills of innovation, give the skills of entrepreneurship to the students. Are we teaching the research skills to the students? New role for colleges and students to become innovators, creators, technology pioneers. You see, at the global level, educate students to dream big with wider imagination. Their imagination has to increase. You see, there is a difference between knowledge and imagination. Knowledge is limited, but imagination is not limited. They should start to build high-tech enterprises using latest research and innovation. How many companies are born in our colleges? How many new technologies, new theories, patents and IPRs are obtained is a very important question we must address ourselves. See, we are not addressing this, but now NIRF has given these parameters. So also the world ranking of the institution. How to produce more entrepreneurs and how to encourage more firms to grow must be addressed by our institution. How long should we borrow the technology from abroad? India is at the borrowing end, keep on importing and importing, and foreign countries keep on selling and selling. Yeah, next please. So the new role for our colleges is to create not just graduate, to produce not just graduate, but produce uh, competent innovators, discoverers, entrepreneurs. Lifelong education is yet another thing, important thing to increase the life organizational capability. Corporate education center, giving education only once is not enough. Obsolescence of, this is all known thing, obsolescence of knowledge and technology is fast. Continuing lifelong education, corporate education, giving the human force competent and emerging skills at the time has become necessary. Corporate education centers in PPP mode. PPP mode must be started in each institution. Mid-career students be admitted in foreign countries. I have observed in Germany and USA, Canada, that the mid-career students at the age of 30, 35, they lose the jobs. When they lose the jobs, they take up a new course in the university or college. And the population of such students is very big now. We have to initiate the mid-career courses, and our colleges, in fact, should start the corporate education centers. Technology transfer centers, there are many technologies colleges have, and industry wants it, but there is no pipeline between the institutes and industry. must produce captains and generals. Not only machines become obsolete, but men also. We have to bear this mind. We have not to only educate the fresh students, but also mid-career employees to make college innovative, creative, and enterprising. Use scientific strategic planning technique with SWOT analysis by benchmarking with the role model institutions. We must look at these institutions. See, I have observed in Georgia Tech University in Atlanta. What is it? I see, they started in the year 2007, one innovation center in one building. In 2020, when I went there were 7 buildings, not one, but from 2007 to 2020, they have 7 buildings doing innovation, and they are crowded. Every day, new things are coming out. But if you see the research park in many universities in Atlanta or in Madison University, in MIT and so on, there are too many. SWOT analysis and all these things we do, but we have to keep in mind how to make colleges innovative, how to make education creative and enterprising. Yes, please. NEP 2020 envisions India to become a world education hub. It gives a mandate to install infrastructure. You have to have infrastructure for research, innovation, and intervention. Many challenges to universities: spin-off, turnouts, high-tech startups. You see, India government is not laying less emphasis on startups. Now, every day these hackathons and other things are becoming popular. And we have to make in India, made in India, stand up India, many things India government has started. Every college must look at these government schemes and reorient our education to them. Imparting skills of research, skills of innovation. Do we impart skills of research to the students? Do we impart innovation skills to the students and entrepreneurship? See, if we are doing, it is nice. If we are not doing, we have to do it. Importing only known knowledge and known technology doesn't suffice. See, we are giving yesterday's knowledge today. This is good, but not enough. Do we have knowledge springs like well water spring? एक विहीर असती शेतामध्ये, त्या विहिरीला तळ पाणी पाहिजे. आपल्या इन्स्टिट्यूट्सला नॉलेज स्प्रिंग्स पाहिजे. त्याचं पाण्याचा म्हणजे वेल वॉटर स्प्रिंग नॉलेज must keep on coming into these institutions. Knowledge must be generated, not rote learning, but understanding concepts, learning based on experimentation. We have to depart, friends, from the rote learning. You see, rote learning, remember, rote learning tends to stifle innovation talent. Rote learning and innovation are opposite. If you are too much of rote learning, then you are far too less innovative. Your innovation talent goes down. It is killed. Yeah, next, please. Culture of research. This is the important thing. See, there is no, what is the character of a college today? The character of a college today is a teaching institution. Yes, this is all right. This was all right till now. But now we have to jump up. We have to jump into the higher orbit. And we have to create a culture of research, innovation, IPR. And now the national education policy has supported culture of research, innovation. And professors have an important role in this. They have to take up this challenge. Then only students from foreign will be attracted for higher education. If it has to be a hub, India wants to become a hub for education, then foreign students will come. But if you are teaching yesterday's knowledge today, no foreign students will come. But if you are teaching them innovation, research, and then they will come. The brain drain and money drain. With the culture of research will reduce, India will become prosperous. Creating world-class universities and colleges in India is prescribed by NEP. Professors matter most. The institutions are known from the professor. What kind of professor? The students also look at not the buildings, not the laboratories, but they look at who is going to teach. Can they be equal to the world best? We have to have an ambition. Am I equal to a good professor in USA, good professor in Germany, good professor in England? Our potential, the innate capability of the professors is very high. They ought to design courses innovation friendly, conduct research to create well-water springs of new knowledge. A change in professors' mindset, reorientation to innovation is needed. Every professor, they have a lot of talent, but their mindset has to turn from teaching known things to the discovery and innovation. Potential in each professor for innovation is vast, but today it is untapped. It is not utilized. We have to discuss and debate in every institution. How can we explore the possibilities of innovation? How can we make the syllabi innovative? How can we make the laboratories innovative? How can we develop linkages with the industry so that they benefit and you also benefit? Students ought to be educated to make them innovation and creativity minded and not paper degree minded. Don't make them, see how many marks they get, 80%, 90%. Those marks are not so important as much what is the new things, product or process innovation they have created. Global opportunities for creative are too big, but they have to be encashed. Yes, please, next. Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan demands import substitution for goods like in defense, electronics, medical, reverse engineering. Suggested, what is reverse engineering? You see, when there comes a product in defense, many products come from foreign countries, some from France, some from America, some from Germany. We don't have the know-how of this, but we have to do the reverse engineering. We have to understand it. Institutes are expected to generate new knowledge, new technology, new theories to cope with world dynamics, compatible to global economy. Imagination power of students to handle emerging knowledge challenges must be enlarged. First mover entrepreneurs. What is this first mover entrepreneurs are expected to come out of our institute. First mover entrepreneur means you develop a technology yourself and you carry this technology in the form of a company in business world over. He is the first mover entrepreneur. Colleges ought to acquire innovative enterprising character. They should not teach only known knowledge, but teach what is the character of a college. Is it a teaching character? It is an innovation character. Is it an enterprising character? We should be known from these characters. Research Park is a meeting place. As I mentioned to you, Research Park is almost absent. It is a meeting place for innovative minds from industry and innovative minds from academics to facilitate exchange of experience and technology needed. Do we want Indian brands of technology? This is the only way. Research Park is a cradle or entrepreneurs. Yes, next. I have visited many research parks in England, in America, in Canada. And Research Park is a campus. It's an industrial complex adjacent to the engineering college or adjacent to but it has a different companies inside the research park. It is not only the college which runs the research park. There are many companies which have their research activities. Research companies, research-based companies is important. See, government has started Atal Innovation Mission. When was it started? in the year 2000. Technology incubator, should colleges not go ahead with them? How many of our colleges have this technology incubator? This Aurangabad University, BAMU, I know, they have a incubator. Bajaj and university together have set up an incubator. The building is built, but the building is standing without much of activity. We have to activate on this front. The technology incubator has to be active. We have to learn to be in partnership with the companies. BOGs ought to be innovative, board of governors of the colleges. They have to be outward looking, following global winds of change. They should not be just merely adoring the chairs of the board of governors, but bringing the global winds of change into the institution. Professor ought to possess ambition. Professors have to be ambition not only to get a higher salary and designation of a professor. Every teacher is a professor now. Assistant professor, associate with the government has done a nice thing. Everyone is designated as professor. Their counterparts in developed countries to groom technology pioneers. They are the ones who enrich human civilization and take it to greater heights. Institutions are expected to transfer knowledge and technology to industry. You see, this is one important effective licensing of IPR, intellectual property rights, has to be there. Then only the new technology. Unauthorized usage of IPR should be punished. Are there unauthorized usage of IPRs in India? There are many, and this is the hindrance. Why the IPR does not grow? Why you should world-proven strategies are suggested in the book and available. The book is available from Amazon. Yeah, next please. Next slide, please. Yeah. This word is important, synergy. Synergy between industry and institute for mutual growth must be generated. Synergy means 1 + 1 make 2. But if there is a synergy between 1 and 1, then it can be 11, then it can be 111, it can be 1,111. Ideas from alumni. You see, alumni is a very big force. But this alumni force, they are the ambassadors of our college. They must be invited and again, innovative alumni especially, to get ideas from industry. An institute cannot grow to its full potential all alone by itself. Internal working, ambition of the principal, ambition of the college is good, but this must be matched with the ambition of the alumni and benchmarking with the world best. This is an important statement. A bird cannot fly with one wing. The two wings, namely industry and institutes of the economy, they must function in harmony with each other. They must synergize and function, then only the economy grows. See, I will explain this point. Our academic institutions are working hard. So also our industry is working hard. But the standing of the Indian industry in world competitiveness is again low. Similarly, standing of the Indian universities and colleges in the world ranking is also low. They are working hard with a low ranking because they have no synergy between the two. Standalone style of working must be abandoned. They must synergize, and with little working, their output will climb up. An institution, industry, and alumni must jointly dream and have a shared vision to grow to the world-class level. It gives economic security to India and collective wisdom. No college in the world has grown without the support of alumni and industry. Take for granted. I observed very closely Alumni makes your job easy. Similarly, industry makes your job easy. India is at risk, great risk, if universities and colleges do not share their future plans with alumni and industry. If they do not share, we have to officially share our future plans with the alumni and industry. Opportunities for professional growth to professors ought to be increased. Deputing them to world best universities and colleges is recommended. We see, until and unless we see their colleges and universities, we do not get a force in our action. We must, our management must depute our professors. The government has many schemes. We must take benefit of all these schemes. Yeah, next, please. Yeah, governance of technical education has to improve. Change in mindset of key governing people is needed. They have to reorient their thinking. They must submit proposals for research to National Research Foundation. The colleges now, Research Foundation expects the proposal, not only for research, but for innovation and for entrepreneurship. Foreign direct small countries like New Zealand, PP mode of operation is practiced, yeah. See, grip of government on education has to be reduced. This is told again and again to the government by several committees and commissions. Autonomy is being promoted, but this autonomy in the PPP mode is needed now. It has to be made more. Yeah, next, please. Culture of teaching and research must be replaced. Today, there is a culture of teaching. It must be replaced by a culture of research, innovation, and startups. What is this institution known for? The courses for startups. Are we running any courses for startups, for risk-taking, for entrepreneurship skill, like marketing, etc.? If not, we have to introduce. Old outdated rules and regulations of MHRD, UGC, AICT will have to be revised, and they are going to be revised. Now the merging of UGC and AICT is anticipated. MHRD, everything now will be looking freshly. Industry experts and idea men are going to be involved at the top level, but again at the institution level, we must invite them to lecture. Professors have capability, creativity for innovation, but it has to be harnessed. See, right at the bottom, research, innovation, and entrepreneurship are today's Guru Mantra. See, if you practice this Guru Mantra, the college will win. If you do not practice it, the college will lag behind. And understand the global winds of change. Where are we in the world? Don't only look at to NIRF. Don't only look to the circular from Maharashtra government and from India government. Look, your benchmark should be the world best. Let all re-engineer our universities, college to make them globally competitive as mandated by. Yeah, next, please. Why should universities and colleges? This is a very important heading. See, if we do not resort to research, innovation, and entrepreneurship, what is going to happen? If India does not resort to research, innovation, and entrepreneurship, India is likely to be trapped into low income, low growth, and low wage driven category of countries of the world, instead of much desire, high growth, high income, and innovative. See, this is today India is a developing country, and it is a low income country, and it wants to become a developed country. India will remain a developing country if we do not resort to research, innovation, and entrepreneurship in universities and colleges. Knowledge matters, not the resources. India aspires to be a 5 trillion economy. India's declared dream is to be a developed country. Dreams of people of India will be shattered if the universities and colleges do not resort to research, innovation, and entrepreneurship. The people will remain poor. So as to fulfill the dreams of people, engineering colleges must have to be innovative. Innovation is now critical factor for growth and prosperity. Engineering colleges, which is not innovative and enterprising, is not worth the name. If you charge education, yes, last sentence is also important. If you charge education with the spirit of innovation, you don't have to do anything. But if you do not do this and do everything else, like roads, electricity, etc., that is not going to matter much. See, gentlemen, how do we look at our students? This is what is mentioned in this statement. We know that leaders of today in science and technology, in industry, economy, were students yesterday. We ought to look at today's students as leaders of tomorrow. Every teacher, the principal, must look to every student as a leader of tomorrow and groom them to be computer leaders by world standards. See, they are students, they have come for learning a fresh culture of innovation and entrepreneurship. In the professors and students have high potential, but this potential has to be harnessed. Will the professors show a lead to introduce it effectively? Professors have to show a leadership in creating the culture, changing the culture from teaching to research. Educate youths to become able men and women to earn money by ethical means and humanity at heart. Well, friends, I thank you very much. I have presented to you something from National Education Policy, the world trends, and where the world is moving, and where are we. We have essentially to grow to the world standards. We are aspiring to be a power in the world. Indian people have brains. They are brilliant people. Whosoever have gone to America, they have made a mark in Silicon Valley. It may be in other cities also, but we have to learn what the other countries are doing. We have not to keep inward looking, close-minded, that we will do what Maharashtra government says, we will do what India government says. But if the world is doing different way, and the new things are being born, not only in India, but they are being born in foreign countries also. And we have to learn. You see, the small countries like New Zealand, Canada. Canada is a small country. I mean, land-wise it is big, but population-wise it is only 3 crore population. 3 crore is nothing. It is as good as Marathwada. But it is, they have got 17 universities. I have visited 3-4 universities. Toronto University, I cannot forget. McMaster University, I cannot forget. See, they are having a big population of PhDs, and they are nothing, they are creating new products, processes. Knowledge is important, and you are in this area of new knowledge, new technology. I appreciate. I thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thanks a
Let
lot,
me
sir.
have questions. Huh?
Yes, sir. Yes, yes. Yes. So participants are requested to unmute.
Sir, nowadays many well-known IITs and NITs are there in our country, but they are also still not able to create the benchmark at the international level. What may be the reason behind it?
Reason, as I told you in my speech, from my personal analysis,
Yes.
the root cause is rules and regulations framed by MHRD, framed by UGC, and framed by AICTE. Our rules are binding our hands and legs such that your capacities cannot be utilized. Your brains cannot be utilized. I will tell you an example. Amartya Sen, what is his age? His age is around 80. Not at 80. But he's still guiding students for PhD. In our universities, as soon as a professor reaches the retirement, immediately he is not authorized to guide a PhD. You see, as far as guidance, PhD and research is concerned, this should be open. Their professors, they guide the research scholars so long as they are physically capable of. You see, there are no restrictions from universities and governments. So likewise, there are many rules and regulations from the India government, MHRD. That is why, as I mentioned, money is not a commodity in short supply in India. Money is ample. There are many institutes who have ample money, but they cannot spend the money the way they should. See, autonomy is one thing, and government interference in granting autonomy is another thing. See, there are many, see, what is holding for the, and our framework, our mindset in our NIT and IITs is also teaching oriented, to tell you honestly. They are also not research oriented. They are far better than our colleges. There is no doubt about it. But nowadays, I attended one meeting. See, it was a meeting organized by, what is his name? In Indian Institute of Management. I was invited in this meeting, Indian Institute of Management, and Ahmedabad. And what is the name of that gentleman from Bangalore? Deshpande, Gururaj Deshpande was there. And then he was asking a question. See, the director of, at that time from IISc was present. I don't remember his name now. It is a 5 years, 10 years old story. Gururaj Deshpande was asking, why don't you produce patents? Indian Institute of Science says that we do not want to convert our knowledge into patent. They were focusing only on research. They were focusing only on publications of the papers. And patents, they were not asking. C.C. Gururaj said that you have no future if you don't obtain patents and do not commercialize the patents. Very simple things were there. Even you see the visions of our IITs, as I see, I have observed very closely, they are controlled by MHR. They are not given a free hand. Otherwise, they will do far better. You see, you are controlled by Maharashtra government, they are controlled by India government. A undersecretary, a deputy secretary in MHRD, he controls the director of IIT, is not a very good sign. They have a governing board, but these governing boards, does it answer your question, gentlemen?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, any other question?
I will request all the participants to start videos so that we can have some snaps. Meanwhile, definitely questions can be asked.
See, I will tell you one interesting experience of mine. In Germany, there is a place known as Hanover. Hanover every year holds a international exhibition, industrial exhibition. And in this exhibition, there are exhibitors who come from world over. And there are visitors. They also come from the world over. So, are you able to get me? What? Huh?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So in one of the, in this exhibition, there was a pavilion. And this pavilion was meant only for universities and colleges. And this pavilion, out of the several pavilions, was most crowded. And we thought of why these people are coming to this university pavilion and college pavilion. And then we were told, you see, the technology of tomorrow is not available with the industrial pavilions, but with these universities. Universities were presenting their patents, their intellectual property rights, and they were selling. There is a business of patent sale. There is a business of intellectual who can pay more. And every industry man, he wants to know what is going to be the technology of tomorrow and where he has to divert, how he has to change over from the present state to the next state. And you see, but in our country, these industrial exhibitions are not held. Now hackathon is coming up, it is growing, and but still the general industries exhibitions, there are only industrial stalls, and universities and colleges do not. I appeal to these colleges that they do not miss an industrial exhibition to publicize their achievements. You see, to begin with, they may not gain much, but in the course of the time, they will certainly earn a good reputation, and industry people will come to them with their problems to find solutions. Yeah, this is one observation. I thought the colleges should participate in exhibitions wherever they are held. They should not feel that only industry people should. You have many things which industry people does not have, especially in new knowledge, new technology and research. If we practice innovation, yes, you will be able to show.
Sir, there is one request. Please start your video.
My
Because
video.
without video, your video, the snaps will not be complete.
Yes, yes, yes,
We
yes.
want photograph with you, sir.
I have started now.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes. Yes. So we can have some snaps now. And during the same, I can go for vote of thanks. With deep reverence, I express my sincere gratitude to respected Dr. Naik sir for such a fascinating session on the integral topic, insights to research, innovation, and entrepreneurship, very much concerned to all of us. We could understand many things about the new education policy 2020. Research is the seed corn for the harvest of benefit. Knowledge is limited, but not the imagination. Not only machines, but also humans become obsolete. Research, innovation, and entrepreneurship are the key factors to us pursuing Atmanirbhar Bharat, and none other than the Technical Education Institute can be a better platform for the same. Of course, there should be synergy between the institute and the industry, as both are the wings of economy. Sir has been with us for some of the sessions of this FDP. Being connected with the learners at the age of 81 plus is not less than a miracle. Definitely in this regard, with respect to the zeal and enthusiasm, sir is not the eldest in this mob. I am sure that the participants have a new vision towards research, innovation, and entrepreneurship. Many thanks, sir. With I sincerely express my gratitude on the behalf of our Honorable Principal, Dr. Rajan Kumar Biskar, and your scholar student, all the faculties, AICT, IST, and all the participants here. Thanks a lot, sir. Many, many.
Yeah, gentlemen, he had summarized in brief the essence of my speech. I am really grateful Huh? You have mentioned the key words, huh,
Yes,
from our speech. This
I
is
tried,
what
sir.
this is what you should take home to your institutions. Thank you very much. I thank Bichkar. I thank all the people in the institution and all the participants. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.